Sorry, it's amazing how these phones trigger in your pocket and you are taken by surprise. You really have to turn off everything before putting it in your pocket. I usually hear that psalm in Hebrew every night before going to bed. And I don't even think I heard it last night because I was absolutely exhausted. A very, very full day. Wonderful day, blessed day. And then it comes on now. It's amazing. And then one day I was talking to somebody while I was writing a note, and I discovered that what I was saying, the words I was saying to the person, were being included in the note, and it wasn't making any sense. So the dictation process was working, and I don't use that very much, and I'm not very, very versed in it. And it turns out it was dictating what I was saying while I was writing at the same time. Amazing. I learn all these things. This is the remnants from the wedding party. Wonderful wedding party here. One of the things about it was that it was also simple. It was about the wedding. Some people go to such extremes with very expensive outlays of flowers and all kinds of trappings. It's interesting how people want to give themselves, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's no rule about this. It's a question of what are your priorities, I guess. What's important for you. What you think people perceive. It's great when people can be themselves and be very content with that beautiful gift that each one is for the other. Also, the decoration of Duc and Altum for the wedding mass was very beautiful, but very discreet, very, we could almost say classical, just well-placed elements, orderly, beautiful, but not a jungle of a botanic garden. But it's okay, I guess. The first wedding was in the Garden of Eden. And Jesus appeared in the garden to Mary Magdalene, the redeeming of the relationship between God and humanity. I suppose it's okay to ponder the process without being judgmental. But sometimes, it's interesting also in the celebration of the sacraments of children and special activities, the amount that's spent also by poor people on people that are eking a living, maybe working 2 jobs, and the amount that's poured out for a special festivity for a child. Some people say it looks like a wedding already. To treasure just being human being together. Obviously we need external expressions of celebration, and that's a good thing. And the love that's put into it, the care. And oftentimes with simple things, one can express a lot. Sometimes less is more, as they say. I want to focus today on a point in the readings that I found interesting. In a certain sense, the 2 readings in the Psalm, they indicate a process that's going on. This man is working here already, cleaning up the campsite. And it was such a mess. It's amazing. There was one package of sausages yesterday, I didn't focus on it. And half the sausages were left in the package right there on the table. People left everything, like they just left everything, stuff thrown on the ground and everything. And why do we need to do that? Well, again, that's not our topic this morning. But he's leaving this place clean again, thanks be to God. Boker Tov. I must talk to him and ask him what his take is on that at some point. I just want to get away from the noise, or maybe I just go way ahead. Well, he's going to go down that direction, so I'll just stay here. So I wanted to focus on the reading this morning. The first reading particularly lays out a process, but also the gospel reading, the parable of the vineyard, indicates a process. Different steps we take in the spiritual life. And I just thought that that would be a good idea to focus on this. That's very clear, especially in the first reading, because sometimes people think if they feel good, have a nice religious feeling, they're okay. But human life is a lot of process in human life, a lot of steps, because we're limited. We have to do this step and then that step and then the next step, and there's a path of growth, a path of development. And I just was fascinated by the one in the letter of Peter this morning. Just let me pull it up for you. What happened here? I don't know where that went. Boy, it's not there for me now. Okay, just give me a second. I hope to be able to get it. Okay, here we are. So just follow the logic of these steps. And after contemplating the different blessings that God has given us, which also is a path of various steps that are mentioned, then there's a response. And for this very reason, so it's toward the end of today's passage, for this very reason, make every effort. And now listen to this list. And it follows with such a logic, it's really beautiful. For this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue. And virtue are good deeds repeatedly done, so they become habitual in us. And actually, vices are the exact same. They're bad deeds that are done habitually, that become kind of automatic in us. They're kind of our default mode, the way we act all the time. So here's the list. Supplement your faith with virtue, virtue with knowledge. So once we're doing some good things, we think we're okay, we're on a good level. But we need to keep growing in knowledge. And knowledge is a gift of the Holy Spirit, but it's also the fruit of study. So there's the supernatural knowledge that's infused in us through our faith, through the presence of the Holy Spirit working in our lives. And there's also the study knowledge that we learn about our faith. And everything else besides. Even doctors today study, have their degree and be in practice, but they need to continue studying because of the new developments that are coming in medicine. so they're able to properly treat their patients. But it's not enough to know. It says supplement your knowledge with self-control, because we all have our passions, and we might know very well the beauty of certain ways of dealing with others, but we might have outbursts of anger over certain situations. And so we need to supplement our knowledge with self-control. Habitual ways of holding our tongue, developing patience, being able to bear with injustice or a snide remark without repeating a snide remark and without lashing out at others. There's a lot of verbal violence in our society. We've kind of grown to, in some sectors of our world, to curtail physical violence, but we haven't managed to gain dominion in the area of verbal violence. A lot of verbal violence is very unjust, very harmful, very hurting of relationships. And then to supplement self-control with endurance. So I control myself today, and I've been controlling myself this whole week, but now I'm going to burst out because I can't hold myself in anymore. Well, supplement your self-control with endurance. The great saints endured a lot for a long time. The production of diamonds is not just through great heat and very intense pressure, but it's also for a very long time. And probably the hundreds of years of slavery in Egypt formed a people. The 40 years in the desert, in the wilderness, formed a people. The 70 years in exile formed a people. A terminal disease that drags out forms us in great patience and trust and kindness and charity. Dealing with an addicted person, it's not easy that that's cured very instantly. Then it calls for endurance. And then it says supplement endurance with devotion, because while we're enduring, we could become fed up. We're still enduring. We're going to stay there and control ourselves. But we might have a hardness of heart. So supplement it with devotion. That means the relationship with God. That means prayer. That means thy will be done. And that takes off some of the tension from our heart, some of that crushing burden of sadness. And if we have devotion, we offer it to God. And we say, here, I offer this up to you for people in greater need. I offer this up to you for a particular intention, for a mom that's expecting a baby. I offer this up for somebody that's very sad or depressed. And then our endurance becomes a prayer. But then not just to offer it up with devotion, but devotion with mutual affection. So I will fill the relationship of my endurance with somebody who is falling very short. I will actually ask for the grace and work on the attitudes of affection for that person. How beautiful is this? This is what you would say, this is the divine walk. This is the path of the forging of saints in weak, fallen human nature. And it's amazing, even children can grow to great virtue in these areas. If they have good parents who know how to walk them down this path, holding their hand, and they discover the path of personal growth. Not the immediate complaint about everything that's wrong and every whimper and fancy that's desired and coveted. To walk down this path, holding hands, strengthening each other. And then the final one is mutual affection. So it's not just a sentimental, affective, emotional thing, but mutual affection is supplemented with love, with true self-giving. I lay down my life for the other. What a beautiful path. I encourage you to ponder that. And at the same time then, as we're invited to pray Psalm 91 with the response, in you, O God, I place my trust. It's not our great muscle. It's God's grace working to us, through us. But we also have a call on our lives to shape up, get our act together. And getting our act together means putting all these little pieces together. Supplement our faith with virtue, our virtue with knowledge, our knowledge with self-control, our self-control with endurance, our endurance with devotion, our devotion with mutual affection with love. What a beautiful path. And what a beautiful way to train children. And especially when the second child and the third child arrive, the earlier children now need to adjust and adapt. And they need to develop compassion when the younger sibling has new teeth and it's hurting them, and when the young child doesn't have self-control yet, it's completely at the mercy of their feelings, that little by little they grow. This is a great education. The greatest education is given in the home. And then we go on with the gospel with the vineyard, and this is about tending the vineyard and producing the fruits expected of us. So we leave that one for your thoughts and contemplation today. Just one little thought. I did listen this morning to Gospel Exegesis, Daily Gospel Exegesis, the logical Bible study looking for the original meaning of things. And there was one comment that really got my attention, and it was that every time beloved son is used in scriptures in the Old Testament and New Testament, it's a son who's going to die. Well, obviously one is Abraham and Isaac. He took his beloved son. And there's one, I think, in the prophet Amos. He named a number of them going through there. I don't have the link there, but the name of the place is still there. It's on Spotify, at least. It could be on other platforms. I'm not aware of where else it might be. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Say a prayer. This morning is incredibly full. Got 3 or 4 appointments already before 8:30 by 8:30. God bless you.